Hey guys, it's Charles with the Sports Allegiances podcast, and for Alex Muncy, Aaron McFessel, and Stephen Guerin, we're going to be talking about the NFL Combine. You had a lot of awesome things happen last year. In terms of Shaquem Griffin running the fastest the linebackers ever ran, 4.38. It was the anniversary today when Stephen Paya broke the bench press record at 49 reps, 225. There's so many things built into this, and this is, it's not getting as much advertisement as it usually does in terms of the combine in general. But I do believe that it has the potential in the athletes, obviously, to be one of the better ones in terms of more well-rounded than it usually is. So whoever wants to start us off, guys, give me one of your hey, this is the guy I'm looking for. It can be a known guy, an unknown guy, or indifferent. Go for it.
I can kick it off. As a fan of the league and as a fan of this person, I'm so excited to see what Kyler Murray's going to do. And I think that's the popular pick. Giving up on baseball to pursue the NFL, something I wholeheartedly support. I can't wait for him to prove his critics wrong. And the Combine isn't oftentimes the place to do that, but it's a good start. And I'm excited to see him. But as a Broncos fan, I really want to see what Drew Lock is all about coming out of Mizzou. Not because I buy into what he did in college or full disclosure, I don't know anything about him really. And from what I'm understanding, he's Denver's favorite right now. And I just want to see what he's about. I want to see what he can do, the size, the arm strength. What does John Elway see in him, and is it justified? That's my biggest question mark in my opinion. But Charles, what do you think?
So Calvin Johnson coming out of Georgia, right? Georgia? Yeah. Georgia Tech, sorry. 6'5", about 237, and ran sub 4.4, 4.35 officially, but I also believe that he was way faster than that, even still. I believe that there's a player in terms of DK Metcalf who can be maybe an elongated Calvin Johnson. In terms of, I mean, the guy shirtless, no weird stuff, but the guy is a physical presence. He has the ability to give that Cam Chancellor presence that he had on defense on the offense. Like, you're not going to want to hit this guy. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, I believe, and again runs sub 4.4, or is hoping to. Obviously, we'll find out, but he catches everything. He blocks well, which, coming from a Seattle fan is a huge thing, and I do believe he could drop that into that 21, 22 draft range area. So I would really love to see him. I just want to see, deep ball is always a huge thing with me. Again, being a Seattle fan, Russell Wilson throws one of the, if not the prettiest deep ball in the league. So I definitely want to see, his eye to ball, how fast he can do that, how well he can do it. Josh Doxson, on Madden is not efficient. If you guys ever try, don't do it with him. But so yeah, DK Metcalf. That's my big guy right there.
Cleveland Browns great, Eric Metcalf's son.
Yeah,
there's some connections here in Cleveland. That there's some whispers that we might take him, but Metcalf, he's such a physical specimen that it's unbelievable. But I actually want to go on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, this is such a defensive heavy draft in terms of, especially like in linebackers, and just the overall talent. I want to go with a guy that's going to probably fall into kind of the mid-first round and be a arguably another Aaron Donald kind of type player in Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from Houston. Why I'm most curious about this is because there's a lot of people that don't really know what position he can really play in the NFL. It's going to all be dependent on his measurables, right? And this is where you get him, is at the combine. How long his arms are, how heavy he comes in, and all those things. And then, it depends. And then it'll kind of lead to where he might be able to play. I mean, the kid's a freak. I mean, you watch any of his tape at Houston. He could take over games very similar to Aaron Donald. He's coming from maybe not a natural football powerhouse, just like as Pitt to Houston. I mean, they're all right, but I mean, they're not necessarily a perennial powerhouse in terms of football. But I mean, they do play some good competition, and Oliver's just going to be a very fascinating guy. Because I mean, I think he has the talent that he could be a top 3 pick. I mean, I truly believe that, but I think there's just a lot of question marks on what position he can actually play, and I think that's what's going to drop him down in the draft. In kind of that mid 14 to 18 range. But I mean, very curious to see how he plays, or how his measurables come out, and how he performs in the combine.
I really am too. Not to get ahead of you, Alex, but he kind of reminds me of like a mix between like an Aaron Donald and a Jaron Reed. And if you ask me, those are the 2 best defensive tackles in the NFL. Both have double-digit sacks, and both can run stop with the best of them. Obviously, Aaron Donald speaks for himself. He's Defensive Player of the Year twice or 2 times in a row. It's crazy. But so yeah, I completely agree. I would love to see, and who knows? Maybe he has an outstanding combine and works his way up into that top 10. There are teams in the top 10 who need the interior defensive lineman. So,
I mean, for me, the player to keep an eye on is Nick Bosa. But my question to you guys is: he even at the combine? Like, is he? I mean, I haven't really seen anything. I don't know if he is. And then another question for you guys is: when was the last time you played football? Like,
it's been a while.
Football. So yeah, you could toss
the ball.
Right. I mean, like, when was the last time he played football? So my question is like, is he the same Bosa that we know? That we knew when he was in college and doing his thing. I don't know. I
think it's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating, right? Because it's it's the argument that, like, you see right now in college basketball, right? Like, should Zion sit out the rest of the year? Right. A similar, kind of argument that's being made. Like, how much does this affect Bosa? I mean, here's the thing. He plays on the defensive line. I don't think that's, if you take that much time off from football at that position, I don't think that's going to necessarily affect you as much. I mean, it's about explosiveness. It's about coming off the ball, stuff like that. I mean, those are things.
It's not like a quarterback missing.
Yeah. It's not like a quarterback.
That's fair. That's fair, but you still want someone to come off the line fast. So, in my opinion, you lose speed. But when you.
Yeah. But I mean, dude's literally all he's been doing has been working out and getting in excellent shape and just doing what he does for the last, he left week 2, week 3,
week 3, I believe.
Out of Ohio State. So I mean, he's been gone a while. So I think that's interesting.
And he could have been training this whole time with his brother. His brother trains or is in the NFL and a damn good player in the NFL in terms of Joey Bosa. If he's training with him, then hey, if anything, he's gotten more efficient. His brother might have brought some San Diego Charger offensive linemen down there to kind of work him out a little bit. Hey, you got to stay,
Yeah, but can they do that?
About Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Like, honestly, can they do that? I understand. I understand that it's out of season now, but wouldn't that still be?
It's working out with your brother, though.
Yeah, you can work out with anybody, really.
Russell Wilson last year. Go ahead.
Okay. Le'Veon Bell's been sitting out. I'm not going to get too into this because this is a different topic for a different video. But he's been sitting out for a long time now, and these teams were licking their chops to get at this guy once he was finally free, and he's not there yet. We still have. We're not at that point yet to where teams can really start getting at him, but the supposed nature that he's out of shape, that's scary for a team to think about a player being out of football for that long. I'm not saying that Nick Bosa is the same way, but it's intriguing. My thing about Nick Bosa is he's been the number 1 pick on any mock draft I've seen, every single one.
For months.
My opinion, if I'm Arizona, I could get a stockpile for that number 1 overall pick. That's the smartest thing to do, in my opinion. Because is Nick Bosa going to change that franchise this year? Are they going to become a contender
he
this year?
Completely changed the Ohio State University's defense, man.
Yeah,
He
they weren't the
left in
same
week
team.
4. It was
Yeah,
it was
they weren't the same
disgusting.
team.
Terrell
From
Pryor
the
changed
defensive
that organization.
from the defensive backfield to the D line to even the offense, the impact he had on the offense, nothing was the same.
Right.
This is
So
college.
hold on. Yeah,
Different.
this is college. And Steve, Charles, you guys talk about Denver. What should they do? Trade Von Miller, who changes that defense for what? What we need on offense and defense. So we could get a lot for Von Miller. You could get a lot for that number 1 draft pick. If teams are wanting Nick Bosa, trade that pick.
And
draft Kyler
feeding
Murray,
off that, Alex.
trade Josh
Going into
Rosen.
what I was gonna say, you can get a stockpile for him. I don't think Nick Bosa changes that. Nick Bosa is not going to make them a playoff contender this year. They have far too many issues.
No,
Arizona does. This is an opportunity to build for the future for what you can get for that number 1 pick.
And you build for the future. I mean, they're in pretty much a very similar situation to where Cleveland was 2 years ago. Who do they take? Myles Garrett, number 1 overall, right? Did he help us win any games? No. But 2 years later, down the road, now he's a Pro Bowler. He's got 13 and a half sacks. Like, he's starting to come into his own. He's starting to look like a dominant defensive end, right? So it's almost like, okay, we can gamble now. We can take this. We can take Bosa number 1 overall, even though we don't really know what's going on with him in terms of if he's in shape, blah, 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 blah. He'll be in shape by September. I have no worries about that, right? Once OTAs start, training camp, stuff like that. If you can get a game-changing defensive end, what's the most important position in football, right? Quarterback. What's the second most? The guys who get to the quarterback, right? And if you can get that type of player, especially in the division they play in, with Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, I mean, you want to shut that down, right?
Well,
you want to shut them down,
and that's
regardless
the thing.
if you think Goff is good or not.
Cleveland did it the right way. They built through the draft with multiple picks.
We passed on Trubisky.
And
or Myles Garrett, right? We deemed Myles Garrett more important at that time than a quarterback. So defensive end means a lot in football. So I think you have to go with Bosa.
You have no help
to say. Did it so well. How is Arizona going to fix their issues if they don't have anything to sell? They can't buy if they can't sell. Right now, this number 1 pick
on defense,
is so valuable.
Even Patrick Peterson is trash now, and I'm saying that serious. I've watched him dominate the league for the last 8 years. 7 years. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But he's on a steady decline. Clearly, he is the only player they have on defense. I mean, they have Deion Jones, who I do enjoy. I love watching him play. He's a physical guy. He can play linebacker or safety, even throw him in the nickel sometimes. He's a great player, and that's it. You draft Nick Bosa to take pressure off of your poor defensive backfield. That's what you do, because that's not only shoring up your defensive line, Aaron. That's shoring up your run stopping with your linebackers. That's freeing up your defensive backs. They can play more liberally. They can kind of, okay, I'm gonna lean off this guy. I'm gonna press this guy, knowing that I'm
cover as long.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We don't have to cover for 5-6 seconds. It's a very smart choice.
I'm not disagreeing with what you guys were saying.
No,
I just
think
understand where you're coming from completely. The value they could get for that pick is greater than what he can do for that franchise single-handedly. That's all I'm saying.
I can see where you're coming from, because it's a defensive-heavy draft, right? So you could actually trade out of one and get just as solid of a player maybe on your defensive line other than Bosa. But here's the thing. There's
no wrong answer in my opinion. Either way they go.
Miss on a guy that could be generational type talent, a defensive end.
He's a statue outside of University of Arizona Cardinals field, or University of Phoenix field. That's who Nick Bosa is, man.
There is a chance that you are passing on the next Khalil Mack.
Dude, no, I'm telling you. I pay very little attention to college football outside of The Ohio State University and University of Washington, because that's all I really care about. I have never seen in my life in any sport one player change the entire aura of a team than Nick Bosa this year. That was crazy. Lack of confidence, everything.
I think Nick Bosa is and I think he'll fit great in Arizona because Chandler Jones is on the other side. And you have Patrick Peterson. I mean, Patrick Peterson is going downhill. Well, he's going downhill because they've had no pressure up front.
Yeah, fair point. Completely agree.
I mean, yes, Arizona, they could take Nick Bosa if they take him number 1. They would be dumb not to. But if I was Arizona, I would trade that pick
to Denver. I got it. Trade it to dead serious. Trade it to Denver for Von Miller.
See what? What? No,
you guys
what?
just elongated. No, listen. You just elongated your tenure for 8 to 10 more years, and you guys got a better player. I'm saying it.
Yeah, they play two different positions though.
No,
doesn't matter. A better overall player.
Vaughn is a
linebacker. Blasphemous.
Yeah, you
Vaughn
could just.
That's
Vaughn
ridiculous.
Hand in the
You're
dirt,
talking about a guy who hasn't played football. Von Miller can't what?
He cannot cover a twin-size bed with king-size sheets.
Which is why he picked up Tom Brady in the AFC Championship.
In the AFC Championship. Here we go with this shit again.
Defensive tackles get interceptions all the time.
You're talking about a guy who has never played an NFL snap before. That's ridiculous.
There's a lot of guys like that. So none of these guys have. But do you pass on them?
None of these guys
like this.
This is a once in a lifetime.
I'm not saying you can't be high on this guy, but you can't.
This would be like the Giants passing on
better than a Super Bowl MVP. That's ridiculous.
There's been flops at Super Bowl MVP. Speaking for Seattle, Malcolm Smith. Where is he at? I don't know. I think he's making pistachio commercials with Richard Sherman in San Francisco right now, while he's backing up Seattle's original backup middle linebacker, Brock Coyle.
Yeah, I mean, Super Bowl MVP is kind of you could have some random guy go off for one huge game and all of a sudden he's the MVP, and it's a guy that's, your third string wide receiver or something.
7th round pick out of USC.
How do you guys not see how ridiculous what he just said was?
It is. No, that's fair. But what I'm also saying is that I think it would create a different mentality in that Denver locker room. It would show people that, hey, you're not safe here.
It would, but then it would also say, hey, this is a business. We're going to do what's best for us. And that's exactly what Denver fans...
Who would you rather have right now? Chubb and Bosa or Chubb and Miller?
I'd much rather have Chubb and Miller. You can't ask that question. This guy has not played an NFL snap. You can't.
Neither did Chubb. And when you guys took him last year, holy crap! It was like you guys took the second coming of freaking Julius Peppers or something. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous how excited you guys were about Chubb last year, and it's the same. It's the same situation.
So and
you've got a guy,
right?
Also, who's going to be far better than him, who's a way greater talent than Chubb, and you have the opportunity to have both of those guys bookend on your defense.
Young,
you guys are jumping the gun on this guy.
Team around Bradley Chubb, Nick Bosa, and Phillip Lindsay.
See, but you guys are building a team off of a name. Yes, I'm not. Yeah. I'm saying he has skill, but can he play in the NFL? Probably.
Who knows?
You guys have an argument when you guys took Von Miller. Were you guys like, oh, hold on, guys, hold on. We haven't seen him play. We haven't seen him play it down in the NFL, but we took him number 2 overall.
To be 100% honest with you, I didn't even know who Von Miller was until we took him. So I was also 13 years old.
That's fair.
Okay, yeah. I do always forget that.
But all I'm saying is we don't know what Nick Bosa.
You can't
any of these players would be.
To these.
That's true. That's very true.
Say, you gotta sell the farm for this kid. No, you can get good
trade to the ponies and cows.
But you're not going to get a Von Miller caliber or Myles Garrett caliber, any of this stuff for Nick Bosa. Who knows? You don't. I mean,
but you go off what you do know, Aaron, and you know that this guy changed an NCAA powerhouse, man.
Ohio State, they were literally picked talent off of trees.
Yeah,
and he was the most talented player on that team. By far.
He's the best player on a USC powerhouse. What happened to him? David Carr was supposed to be a stud in the league. Look at all of these players who are supposed to be so talented going into the NFL, and they flop.
Offensive players bust more than defensive players.
I was going to say that.
Way more for sure.
Right.
If you can look at talent and look at the film and look how they play, defensive players are way more of a for sure deal than offensive players.
Yes, that's very true because it's. I don't want to say it like this, but they have one mindset, and that's to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, especially when you're talking D-line.
Right.
It's the same thing they've done since
It's
high
hard
school.
to miss on D-line. It's really hard to miss on talent.
And that's a good point. Yeah.
But at the same, so Aaron, what I'm saying is like in terms of the Matt Leinart and David Carr thing, or Derek Carr, sorry, or no, David. Did you say David?
David.
Sorry. Both cars, both broke down. But anyway, those guys didn't literally sit out a season and watch the powerhouse that they were. Those teams were still decent after they left.
Ohio State wins a national championship this year if they have Bosa.
Yeah. That's
you're gonna roll your eyes.
That's how much he changed it. I have a
defense. To me, that sounds like a whole lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda, and you don't know. Ohio State's defense was not as good as Clemson's defense.
No. The first two games they were dominating though. They were top five.
As good as Clemson's defense, and Ohio State's offense couldn't compare with anyone call it in the final.
But 45.
Like
5,000 yards passing.
Let's
stop. Ohio State's offense was fantastic.
You can't sit here and declare that they're national title championships over Nick Bosa. What happened the year before when they didn't national
One
title?
player can change everything in college football.
I swear to God, I saw it. When they didn't make the national championship game.
Especially when you have an all-time talent.
Like
an all-time talent.
Aaron, I understand that you weren't watching the games, but this man changed everything, dude.
Ohio State was fantastic, and then he left, and guess what happened? They tanked. It was done. They weren't the same team. Defensively, for sure, 100%, they would have been much better. They don't.
My roommate, who's a diehard Michigan fan, was scared to death to play us. And then Nick Bosa got hurt. We saw the next game. Who was it? Purdue? No.
It was Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, yeah. I was thinking the colors. And he was like, I'm not even really scared to play you guys anymore, which Michigan found out the bad end of that.
It was pretty.
But anyway.
I guess you got to look at I guess this went over way too long. But
yeah. So anyway, sorry guys out there, but no, get in on the conversation. If you guys think Nick Bosa could change a franchise, then comment, like, subscribe, Sports Genesis Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Hey, just comment. We'll put you guys on. We'll react with you guys. We're trying to get a couple big name people here in the next couple weeks. So hopefully we can get those guys or girls and see what's going on. Do you guys have anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. For Alex Muncy, Aaron McFessel, and Stephen Garens, Charles Jernigan signing off.